Networking is something that's very important for leaders to be doing all the time, not just when they have an open position. And so we want to make sure that as we're thinking about networking, we're also thinking about the diverse sources and voices of where you can actually build your network and where you can start thinking about growing your network. So when you do have an open position, you're ready to go and you have great people already in your network. And I like this quote from Ivan Meisner around networking. Networking is more about farming than it is about hunting. And it's so true because it's something that when you're networking, it's something that you're doing all the time. And it's not just a one and done event. It's definitely something that you're cultivating and you're continuing to have touch points with people and really make sure that you're building that network and building that relationship once you've had that initial contact and once you've started to reach out to folks. So network and recruiting, how do they connect? So, I think the old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know, is so very true. And we want to make sure that we're using that to our advantage and making sure that we're really setting ourselves up for success to find great people from underrepresented groups. So, just thinking back on your career and thinking back on your roles, have you ever introduced someone in your network for a job or a business opportunity? I have. Have you ever asked someone in your network to introduce you to another person for a job or opportunity? Again, I have. And I think a lot of us would raise our hand on both of those. And so when we think about networking and how that helps folks recruit and have new business opportunities, it's kind of a no brainer that those two are definitely connected. And so we want to dig in more on that and what that might mean for you as a hiring leader. So the first piece is that we want to build a more diverse network. That's the goal of this, and that's why we're talking about this from a hiring manager perspective. And really, what that is all about is that you want to start building a network. So it's not, hey, when you have an open job, you're now looking for people with different perspectives or from different groups. It's that you already have a network of folks that you've built over time that have different perspectives and different experience that you can bring into the conversation or ask them to be a candidate for your open job. When you have that open job, obviously you're already going to be connected. So you're not going to be scrambling to say, who do we have, to make sure we have a diverse candidate slate. You're already going to have those connections built. And thinking about your network, it's much like thinking about your team. So who isn't currently represented? What voices have you not heard from? When you think about your network and who you're hearing from on a regular basis, what is popping up on your feed? What voices aren't there? Making sure you're having diverse voices, making sure you're hearing from a lot of different people will help as you build your network and keep you connected and keep you kind of thinking about this from the perspective of how do we do this and how do we do this right? Where to network. So this is the one that I get all the time, and this is one that can be difficult. And what we want to really consider here is I have this listed as more an engineering focus. And depending on your industry, depending on what you're actually recruiting for, these might not be the right groups, but make sure that you do check into are there industry groups that kind of fit into these categories that would be what you're looking for. So thinking about industry groups and forums, there's a lot of groups that you could connect with and connect with who is in those groups or when are they connecting, when are they doing meetups, things along those lines, just so you can start to hear from different voices and again connect with folks that you maybe haven't connected with before. The second one is those conferences. So there's a lot of conferences that are focused on specific people, specific groups, things along those lines. Making sure that you're really thinking about where are those folks and are there ways that I can connect with them? Maybe it's you're attending as well, and you can connect with them outside of that, obviously maybe not in person, but on any type of social media or anything along those lines that might be represented by the conference group. The next one is schools and universities. So I think a lot of times people, the first thing that they think about is maybe like historically Black colleges and universities. And that is absolutely a great one. But also thinking about what student groups are in the colleges around your campuses, your office locations. Thinking about, is there a computer science student group? If there are alma maters of executives and senior leaders, that would be a great foot in the door because I know a lot of professors that are looking for guest speakers or they want someone who's doing the job in real life to be able to bring in to hear it, have the students hear from. So that's just another way to kind of connect and start to build some of those relationships. And then the last one is leveraging your employee resource groups. The employee resource groups are for folks that are already working for you, but a lot of times they're attending conferences together and seminars. And so they might have connections or they might know folks that are speaking at those conferences or that are a part of, different activities that they're doing. And this also is about, facilitating community events. A lot of time your employee resource groups, they'll be doing, community events, volunteer activities. Go to those events and see who you meet and if there are folks that might be great connections for your network in the future. Networking is also about your brand. So how are you showing up? And a lot of this is really about social media and how you're up for folks that might be interested in connecting with you or vice versa. So, a couple things to keep in mind. Your profile photo needs to be one that is professional and makes you really present as someone who's approachable and friendly. So, make sure you smile. When people are visiting your profile, they want to make sure that they're looking at your picture first. They want to make sure you're someone that they would want to connect with and have a conversation with. And so, you want to choose a photo that really helps you to stand out. The next piece is to write a descriptive headline. So a lot of times that headline, that's the line right under your name, folks will just list their job title. And instead of doing that, you really want to think about what is the impact you're trying to make on your organization or on the world, and making sure that your headline is really a descriptive, like short mission statement, if you will. So it really, shares a little bit about your passion and what you're trying to achieve. A great one that I've seen recruiters use quite a bit is, they're connecting jobs to people who want to have a fulfilling career or something along those lines. So it's not just, hey, I'm a recruiter too at XYZ company. It really is more about, how are you connecting folks and how are you helping them achieve their career of their dreams? Showing genuine passion is another one. This is, when you think about your profile summary, when you think about what you're listing under your bullet points and things like that about your goals, etc., make sure it's a passionate list, meaning, why are you someone that someone should connect with? What are those goals that you have? What are you passionate about? And why should they connect with you? Why are you special? So making sure you're really showing your genuine passion in that regard. The next one is creating and amplifying content. Your LinkedIn profile is that two-way dialogue. So when you are sharing content, when you're creating content, whether it's a blog post or just a short blurb, or you're sharing an article that you found interesting, make sure you're thinking about, how will this be received by folks in my network? You want to set yourself up as that expert and you want to set yourself up as that professional person. So what you're sharing should be professional, and it also should be something that really, how is this relevant to what you're doing today and how you're working today? So being thoughtful about the content that you're sharing. Recommendations are a great way for people to really be able to say a little bit more about you in a more personal way. And so asking for recommendations from folks that have had a positive experience with you, whether that's been business partners or, peers in your organization, things along those lines. The one caveat I'll get here is please do not ask your subordinates for a recommendation because that can get kind of awkward. Next one is personalizing your emails. So when you are reaching out to folks to connect, put in a personalized message. And, LinkedIn will let you either click the button to connect or they'll say, send an email to connect with this person that's personalized. Personalizing the message really helps to increase the likelihood that the person will connect with you. And especially if you're looking for candidates or future candidates, you want to make sure that they are responding and they are going, yeah, I should connect with this person. That's important. A couple more tips to keep in mind for your social media and especially for your LinkedIn. Again, making your profile public. So making sure that people can find you, making sure that you're someone that, when they type in your name, it's something that they can pull up and find you very easily. Updating your location. So, in our world of remote working right now, where are you actually working? So this might not be your headquarters location. It could be something else. Adding a background photo in addition to your profile picture. So a lot of times I'll recommend, put in the logo of your organization or put in something that you're passionate about. Hey, I really like to climb mountains. So I'm going to put a view of a mountaintop that I climbed up, things along those lines. And that's, again, just to show a little bit more about who you are. Making sure your contact information is accurate. So if you have a website that you're trying to direct folks to, or if you have other social media handles where you share other stuff, making sure those are listed and making sure those are up to date is critical so folks can find you again. Contributing content that your audience will find valuable and engaging. This is one where I think, a lot of times we want to make sure that what we're sharing is relevant to the conversation and is relevant to what you're trying to build in regards to your network. So if you're sharing stuff, if you're using hashtags for your industry, for your role, all of those things, that will help to attract the folks that you want to find. And then again, requesting recommendations from peers, project partners. And if you're new to the workforce, this could even be teachers or professors that you worked with. So just being thoughtful about that to start to build your recommendations. Don't assume everyone sees what you share. I think this is one that, we all have so many social media feeds that we're looking at and so many different places where we can connect with folks. So don't assume everyone saw what you shared. Make sure that, you're following up or that you're checking in with people. If there is something that you're like, I really want to make sure this person sees that, send them a LinkedIn, in mail, and that will just make sure it does get in front of them. Posting original photos with faces in them. This is one that I think is just critical to make sure you're posting stuff that's your own or giving credit to the photographer. So, we want to make sure that we're not just using stock photos because those are not as genuine as we'd like them to, but also making sure that you're crediting whoever the photographer is. So those are just some tips to get you started on networking. We hope that helps you to build out a more diverse network so that you are ready for when your next role posts that you'll have a great network you can start with. Thank you.